guys, welcome to Empath 101. Empath 101 is a short series of words that you will. Y'all hear my kids in the background play. Empath 101 is a short series of words that give you the basic, however, not limited to definition of words that you will come across in our spiritual community. So today, this one's a little different, guys, and we're going to do the word shadow work, but first I'm going to define the word shadow side. It all ties in together, but I'm going to break it down like that. So shadow work and shadow side. So let's start off with the shadow side. Spiritually, the shadow side represents the repressed, unconscious, and often negative aspect of the self, such as fears, traumas, desires, and shame that have been hidden from conscious awareness. The concept popularized by Carl Jung suggests that embracing and integrating these disowned parts through shadow work leads to the greater self-awareness, balance, and wholeness. By bringing these hidden aspects into the light, individuals can heal old wounds, understand their motivations, okay, achieve greater authenticness. So that's what shadow work is. So we all know shadow side. Your shadow side are those characteristics or traits about ourselves that we don't really like to acknowledge, things that didn't happen to us that might have had a cause and effect type of reaction to us that we don't like to think about, acknowledge, talk about. In order to heal, you have to address your shadow side. You have to address the things that maybe happened to you that had a long-term effect on you. Trigger warning, like molestation, abuse, or being around abuse, drug use, alcoholism, anything of that sort that you might have encountered, saw, been a witness to, anything, crime, anything, like anything. So let's dig into the actual shadow work part and break it down, because as long as we know what the shadow side is, the bigger portion of that is doing the shadow work, because doing the shadow work is what helps us heal. Doing the shadow work is what helps us grow and evolve. Okay, so shadow work. Spiritually, shadow work is the intentional practice of acknowledging, exploring, and integrating the disowned or repressed dark aspects of self to become a more whole and conscious spiritual being. It involves facing hidden parts of your psyche, often negative qualities like rage, envy, and greed, to understand unconscious motivations, heal past wounds, and align with your true spiritual potential. The goal is to bring these suppressed qualities into consciousness, leading to greater self-awareness, acceptance, spiritual growth, and more authentic life. What the shadow represents. Unconscious aspects. The shadow refers to parts of your personality that are hidden from your conscious awareness, often because they are perceived as negative, shameful, or unstable. Undesirable. It said undesirable, but I said unstable, so also they can make you unstable, mentally unstable. It can make you physically unstable if it has something to do with like your dieting habits. Like some families have that have issues when it comes to weight, their health, and things of that sort. A lot of things some things can be genetic and some things could be just inherited. And when I say spiritually inherited, if you are somebody that is a spiritually awakened, you know what I mean. But if you're not, you're learning and growing, you can spiritually inherited karma. You can spiritually inherit any sort of thing. And go check that definition out about spiritual inheritance in terms of things about self. So just look up spiritual inheritance. Repressed traits. These can include feelings, impulses, and traits like anger, selfishness, envy, and a desire for power that are disowned because they don't fit with your conscious self-image. However, that does not mean the traits don't show up in your everyday world. You just don't acknowledge it. You don't acknowledge that you're a selfish person. You don't acknowledge that you always move in a sense of benefiting you. You don't acknowledge that you're not a loyal person. You don't acknowledge that you're somebody that runs from their issues like you're a runner. You don't acknowledge those things. You just do it and then healing and growth. It's a path to healing old psychological wounds and growing spiritually by confronting and processing what has been suppressed. Conscious awareness. The core spiritual act is bringing the unconscious into consciousness, transforming what was a source of internal conflict or unawareness into a known and integrated part of your spiritual self, unlocking potential. The qualities in your shadow are often undeveloped potentials. Acknowledging them allows for their retrieval and development, leading to personal and spiritual transformation. How it works. Acknowledgement. The first step is recognizing and acknowledging these disowned parts of yourself rather than continuing to deny them, continuing to project them on other people, or deflecting from them. Being a gaslighter. Okay? You have to actually acknowledge that you have a problem in order for you to fix it. You get it? I know we all hear that 100 times, but this is literally the definition of that. Exploration and understanding. Through various practices, one can explore the unconscious motivations and positive intentions behind these dark aspects. So it's always lightness to every darkness. Any bad quality that we have or any bad quality that we embrace or we decide to act on, we can always revert that to a positive, you know? When we know that we're somebody that is very selfish, we have to figure out, why am I so selfish? Is it because I move in the thought of lack? Because a lot of times people become selfish when they felt like they never had enough. And when you figure that out, you learn how to consciously give and give back in the magic of giving and receiving. And why can't I look at it in a positive way instead of feeling some way about it, you know? Like, anytime we have an unconscious or conscious issue with somebody else, 9 times out of 10, especially somebody that's never done nothing to us, there's shadow work that needs to be done. Because people can do stuff to you all day and you still can be a person that keep walking and keep moving and just like let it be. It is what it is, because naturally karma's going to always kick in and take effect, whether you try to inflict your own karma or not. But you inflicting your own karma on somebody is doing nothing but setting you back and making karma come and flip itself back on you. So it's best to just let it go. Now, it's hard to let go of things that people have done to us when we have other underlying issues like envy, jealousy, or vindictive ways, you know. It's hard to walk away from any situation, whether you're right or wrong, when you are operating in those type of energies, you know. So anytime you feel the need or you go out your way to do stuff to other people, whether you feel like they deserve karma or not, whether you feel like they're right or wrong, especially when they ain't do nothing to you, you always have to go back and ask yourself, what in me makes me react in that manner? Or why can't I control that urge? Why can't I just literally let life be life, because it's going to life regardless of whether I act or not, and let the natural energy and the way that life moves take its own course? Like, why can't I sleep without me having to be vengeful? Like, why does that bother me so much? What inside of me makes me feel like, anyway, even especially when you're around other people and you don't like somebody because you feel like they make you feel less, like, why? What about them makes me feel less? What is it in me that I need to heal? That, because we are all equal, you know? So what inside of me do I need to work on that I'm feeling away? You know, because a lot of times we trigger ourselves. Like, we say other people trigger us, but it's not really. How can that person trigger you just being them? You are, something inside of you is triggering you about that person. That person is not triggering you unless they're purposely doing stuff to piss you off. In that case, you need to take yourself out of their presence because they got an issue. But if somebody's not purposely doing anything to you and you just feel triggered by their energy, by their presence, then it's something in you that you need to go in and fix. You know, it's not that person, it's you. And we have to learn to take ownership of that, like, period. I felt jealousy before, of course, I'm a female. I've been jealous before, you know, but you learn how to, once you heal, you don't feel jealousy anymore, because you understand where that emotion coming at. It's like, that's not that person's fault, that's my fault. What do I need to fix in me? Why do I feel envious of that person? Why do I feel less, you know, validated when that person, you know, is around? Why do I feel like you have to figure it out. Sometimes it's hard to acknowledge those things in ourselves, but if you don't ever acknowledge them, then you won't never fix it. You go through your whole life, and it's going to be plenty of people that you allow to treat you and make you feel like that, which in the long run cuts opportunities from you. Because if you can't, first of all, you're never going to grow if you're always trying to stay around people that keeps you feeling comfortable, because you are intimidated by energies or people that actually do have strong aura fields and that are willing to take a step and grow. You're always going to feel inferior to them because they're doing the things you don't want to. You didn't have the, I'm not going to say strength to do that, you didn't have the courage to do. You're going to always feel inferior to them, and that's just something in you. They're just living their life and taking chances. Also, it's like, once you heal that part of you, like, you open up to more things. You won't feel so discouraged to step indoors and step in rooms and step amongst people that you felt like that you didn't belong with, because it's like, why don't I belong? Why can't I walk and I do it? Why is that unachievable? And me as I am, I'm good, I'm enough, I can do it. Like, I'm not intimidated. Like, I'm not intimidated. I look up to people that have that energy that commands a room. I look up to people like that, because I know with me working on me, I can make me get to that. I'm like always somebody that likes to give flowers to other people. When you make your achievement, when you're not scared to step out when you're not scared to chase your dreams, that's a flex. And if you doing it, then you got that right to flex. Always. It's enough out here for everybody. I'm like, God is not going to run out of supply of nothing. He's not going to run out of abundance. He's not going to run out of opportunity. You just have to be willing to do the work within yourself. And when you do the work within yourself, it radiates outside. Now, let me finish this up. But, you know, you have to be willing to face you. Like, you got to face you before anything else. You gotta get you right before anything else can be right, because your energy, your essence, your signature is going to be what rubs off and go into any dream or aspect or anything that you are chasing or wanting to do or wanting to be. So if your aura not right, then nothing else is going to be right. It's like a faulty foundation. With anything you build is going to be faulty, period. And it takes a while for us to get that. It took a while for me to get that, you know, but you learn as you go. You learn, and the more you learn, the more you grow. And it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay not to get it right sometimes. But the thing is, what do you do after you make that mistake? What do you do after you know you didn't get it right? Do you acknowledge it, or do you project it? Project it on other people. And projection is always saying, it wasn't me, it was this. It was because that. When you hear people always saying that XYZ happened because that person or this person or that person, or woe me, and why does this always, take a step back and really analyze that situation. People don't like to take accountability. People don't like to acknowledge the things that they do. People don't like to acknowledge that some of the choices that they make land them in the situations that they're in is always because of somebody else. And those type of people you need to learn to stay away from, because they're always trying to put their bad energy and their karma on you. When people say, oh, it's her, him, they're trying to put their karma on you. They're trying to put that bad energy on you. They're trying to put them problems on you, like you the problem. No. And that's why when people know who they are and they stand in their own energy and strength, it's like, oh no, you're not going to put your trauma, your problems, your whatever on me. Not even being heartless about it, because you can love somebody and still not allow them to do it, because how do you help them grow? You're hindering them because you're tablespooning their issues, because you're allowing them. No, that's not a me problem, that's a you problem. So you need to figure it out and fix it. Period. And nobody can go inside you and fix you with you. But again, in order for you to fix the problem, you have to acknowledge that there's a problem there. Period. We all have issues. Nobody is perfect. So it's okay. Don't be ashamed to say, I don't need help. I don't know how to fix this. And make sure you just telling it to somebody you trust, because a lot of people got trust issues because they've been crossed and stabbed in the back so many times. But there is somebody you can trust. And a lot of times the people you can trust are the people that you feel that ain't on your level, because they are more standoffish or quiet or to themselves or reserved, because they don't feel the need to do all that to prove who they are to everybody else. A lot of times the people who are short in their own self, they are more laid back, calm, and cool and collected. I don't need to be the loudest one in the room. I don't need to be the best fighter in the room. I don't need to be the prettiest in the room. I know who I am, and everything about me is enough. Period. And that's all. No matter where I go, I add to. No matter who I'm with, I add to. No matter what I'm indulging in, I'm adding to. No matter what the people around me look like, got on, talk, no matter what, I'm adding to. You adding to, you adding to, you adding to. You bringing your experience, your life, your aura. I'm bringing me, my experience, my life, my aura. We all bringing something different. We're all adding to. I don't need to compare what I'm adding to with you compared what you're adding to. I didn't live your life. I didn't walk your shoes. You walked your shoes. I walked my shoes. I have nothing to do with anything good or bad about you. I'm going to give you your flowers. I'm not judgmental. I ain't judging you. I ain't analyzing you or nothing. And us reading cards, we're just trying to help people grow, because that's what we are called to do. Do you know how many people that read cards that ran from their abilities because they didn't want to be the one having to do that? I don't judge people. I don't like pointing people's stuff out. But guys, they trip me down to nothing and say, look, you won't answer me. This is what you're supposed to be doing. So I'm here. So understand, I had to say, it's never any judgment. It's always about helping elevate and grow. But understand that we had a lot of elevating and growing to do ourselves to even get to a point where we can answer these calls ourselves. Okay? So the last one, acceptance. The ultimate goal is to accept and love these parts of yourself, integrating them into your conscious personality to foster inner peace and spiritual maturity. Love on you, the good and the bad. Always choose to try to do better and make better choices, but nobody's requiring perfection. Just acknowledge the things, okay? Let's continue to learn together so we can grow together. And as I always say, remember to pray. Bye, guys.